Queen Elizabeth II is the longest-serving monarch in British history, having been on the throne for 69 years. She began her reign back in 1952 following the death of her father, King George VI, on February 6, and while she may be 95 years old, the Queen is showing no signs of slowing down. When the time does come for a new monarch, her son Prince Charles will ascend to the throne and become the new King of England. But what will happen when the Queen herself passes away? What happens when the Queen dies? There are reportedly precise arrangements already in place for when the Queen passes away, and a recently leaked report seems to confirm some of the key details. The leaked documents obtained by Politico detail Operation London Bridge, but it is unknown as to whether they represent the most up-to-date arrangements. Apparently, when the Queen's death is confirmed, a code word will be used to inform the Prime Minister of the news. According to The Guardian, the leader will be woken from their sleep if necessary and told by civil servants that London Bridge is down. The PM will then know this means Queen Elizabeth II has passed away, with a series of events which will follow known as Operation London Bridge. A key part of the initial tasks would include notifying foreign governments, which will be handed by the Foreign Office, who would inform 15 governments outside the message would then be passed to the 36 other nations in the Commonwealth for whom the Queen is still a figurehead. How will the news be announced? The way the Queen's death would be announced will depend on how she dies. If, for instance, her passing is expected due to a long illness or similar, there will already be a plan in place should it happen. Because it's funded by license payers, all BBC channels would show the BBC One broadcast announcing her death. Other channels are not required to interrupt regular scheduling, though it's almost certain they will, like they did when Prince Philip died. If her death was sudden or in a public place, the palace would have little control over the news spreading. Following the initial announcement, which will be in the form of a statement from the Prime Minister, the BBC will cancel scheduled comedy shows until after her funeral. Meanwhile, blue lights will begin flashing at commercial radio stations which will alert the DJ to switch to the news and play inoffensive music. In the meantime, casters on TV screens will wear black attire with news likely to dominate most channels for weeks. What will Queen Elizabeth II's funeral look like? Before her burial, the Queen's body will lie in state in Westminster Hall, open for 23 hours a day until the funeral. When the coffin arrives, there will be a short ceremony before people will be able to pay their respects. The number of mourners expected to queue up to see the Queen is immeasurable. More than 200,000 members of the public paid their respects to the Queen Mother when she died in 2002. And after Princess Diana's death in 1997, tens of thousands of mourners laid bouquets of flowers outside the palace. According to the leaked report, the government is planning a massive security operation to deal with the crowds over fears. Accommodation, travel networks, health, policing and basic services could all be stretched to capacity. The funeral itself would be likely to take place 12 days after the Queen's death and will be broadcast on TV and streamed online. The state funeral will begin by her coffin being taken to Westminster Abbey by gun carriage, where it will be led by Archbishop of Canterbury Justin Welby. Leaders and heads of state from across the world will attend, and it's likely that members of the public will line the route of the funeral cortege. Following the funeral, the Queen's body could be laid to rest in a number of places. Many speculate that she could be buried either at Balmoral or Sandringham. Other reports suggest she would be buried in a plot next to her father King George VI at St. George's Chapel in Windsor. It is unknown if the recent plan has taken into account the ongoing COVID pandemic and what effect it may have on proceedings should the Queen pass during it. When would Prince Charles become king? As first in line to the throne, the Prince of Wales will become King Charles III as soon as his mother has passed away. He can however choose his own title and use any of his other Christian names from his full name of Charles Philip Arthur George. Elizabeth became Queen Elizabeth II immediately following the death of her father, King George VI. This is because a throne is never vacant. Sovereignty passes on accession rather than a coronation. It is expected that the Accession Council would then meet at St. James's Palace to declare him as king, which is just a formality. His coronation ceremony will also be arranged, but it is likely to be far sooner than Elizabeth's was. The words to the national anthem and new postage stamps and currency would also be minted and printed to reflect his ascension to the throne. Prince William would also be made Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cambridge would become the Princess of Wales, the same title that was held by Princess Diana. Follow Metro across our social channels, on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Share your views in the comments below. Sign up for Not Convinced? Find out more.